When you mouse over a game object, the onPointerEnter event is sent to every single parent of that object until the root of the hierarchy. So if I mouse over the parent, onPointerEnter is only sent to the parent, but if I mouse over the child, it's sent to both. To demonstrate this, I have a script here. It's a model behavior that inherits both IPointerEnter and IPointerExit. They have access to a toggle that is merely there to tell you if the mouse is over that object or not. And when I mouse over it, I I set the display to on and I save a counter that shows me how many times this method was called. And the same to exit. The only difference that here we have access to this boolean from the event data that that supposedly tells us if the mouse fully exit the game object. By fully exit, I mean did it just switch to a child or did it completely exit any game object that is a child of that one. However, this does not work. Um, Regardless if you fully exit the parent or not, this is never called, this is never true. So unfortunately, this behavior is buggy currently. Um, I'm using the Unity 2021.3.21 F1 version to demonstrate this, and I'm using the new input system package version 1.5. So I just have that one behavior attached to these two objects, and as I showed earlier, uh, onPointerEnter is sent on both when you enter the child. And to demonstrate the fully exit thing, I have those counters which show me how many times the mouse exited or entered that object. And as you can see, fully exit is never called, regardless if you're exiting or entering a child, regardless if they're overlapped or not. By the way, if they're overlapped, pointer exit is not called on the parent, only on the child. This behavior also happens with colliders. So if you have two game objects with colliders with isTrigger on, the sprite render is irrelevant. It's just so I can show you where the objects are. And the same behavior happens. If I mouse over the child, it sends onPointerEnter to both of them. If I exit the child, onPointerExit to both of them as well. And of course, on the parent, only sends the parent. If they're overlapped, it's the same thing. It does not tell you that you exit the parent, and they never tell you that you fully exited anything. The way that I recommend to deal with this interaction is to avoid having multiple raycast objects on the same. There are child of the same uh, object that is also raycasting. So let's say you have a button. In this case, I disable raycasting on every single child of the button, and I avoid putting mono behaviors or any kind of components on them that react to those events. So I just put the whole logic on the parent. It makes things simpler. It makes them easier to debug. I run into less issues, so I just do this to avoid dealing with this interaction that might change in the future. depending if they fix the fully exit or not. So I just choose to not deal with it completely. By the way, on Text Mesh Pros, the raycast target comes as on by default, but you can change that on the project settings. So if you go over here and disable this enable raycast, every single new Text Mesh Pro that you create will come with raycast off. So I know that on my project every single text is not gonna raycast unless I explicitly tell it to.